What's up, everybody? Estop back. Yes, another video, and today we're going to talk about The Eternals. This is a movie that when Marvel first announced it, I wasn't sure what direction we were going to go in. Wasn't as familiar with The Eternals as some of the other comics, but at the same time, I was interested to see what they were going to do and how they were going to do it. When I saw the cast and some of the storylines that kind of leaked out a little bit and who was who, I was like, okay. Definitely something I want to see. And while this movie was long, we'll get to that in a minute, it was very enjoyable. I loved it. I thought they did a good job of storytelling. Then they did a good job of connecting everything together and why they didn't get involved with Thanos and some of these other things. There are a few little niggles that I have a problem with, and again, we'll get to that, and I'll warn you, there will be spoilers in this video. I normally don't do spoilers, but I think for this one, we need to talk about some of the things that happened in the movie and what this may mean for the future of the Marvel Universe and what's happened in the past of the Marvel Universe. So, again, this is one of those movies where Marvel kind of stepped out from what people were expecting, and I loved it. Marvel continuously has done in the MCU, has established these characters who no one really knows, and these teams that no one really knows and cares about, and have brought them to life and have made you more interested in what has happened previously in the comics. The Eternals, while a part of the Marvel Universe, not like a huge team, not something that you really hear too much about. Like, the only Eternal in the comics you really know about is Thanos. Yes, Thanos is an Eternal. We'll get to that. But yes, the only really Eternals you really hear about is Thanos, Star Fox, and then the rest you really don't hear about. They'll pop up every once in a while, be used, but then they're not like main characters that you hear about a lot. So again, Marvel has done it time and time again with Ant-Man, with Captain Marvel, even with Black Panther, where they brought these characters to life who a lot of people don't care about or didn't care about as much about in the comics. You're like, oh, well, what are you guys going to do? And they've nailed it. This movie was super interesting. I love the characters. I love the stories. I love the diversity of the cast and the stories for each cast member. I just love the flow and how they just told the story that was so compelling, and something that's, these characters have been around for 7,000 years, and to encompass all that time and what they've gone through on Earth in this movie. Even though the movie's 2.5 hours long, it's a little long, but again, we'll get to that. It was still very good. The pacing was pretty good. There was a couple little slow spots. You're like, all right, this isn't really needed, but overall, the pacing was really good. The way they tied all the characters was really good, and you get a sense of how big the Marvel Universe is, and it's not just about Earth, even though they always come back to Earth and yes, all this other stuff, but how big the universe is and how much other things are going on in the Marvel Universe. And I love how they showed the scale of this, and they showed the scale of the Marvel Universe and all together. I enjoyed the movie. The acting was superb. The storytelling was good. The direction was good. The visuals, the cinematics, amazing as always. Marvel nails it almost every time. I really can only complain about Thor 2 and Iron Man 2 as being like the low points of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Everything else, for me, has either lived up or exceeded my expectations on what I was expecting, and has made me look even more forward to what's coming next. So, speaking about what's coming next and kind of what's happened before, now this is where the spoilers are going to start coming in. You have the Eternals, and the way the movie ended, of course, because there's going to be more movies, it ends in a cliffhanger and it ends in something that makes you want to see the next movie, and it lets you know that yes, there's more coming with the Eternals. However, it's kind of how they tie stuff together. Like, they acknowledge the fact that Thanos is a Eternal, and because they introduced Star Fox, Thanos' brother, but yet how does that play in? Like, why didn't the Celestials step in with Thanos? You know, why were only the three Eternals taken? Why not all of them taken? I mean, they're all powerful. Why can't they just took them off the ship and brought them to wherever? So that didn't make any sense to me. And like, what happened with Thanos? Like, why was he not reined in? And same thing with Star Fox. And you know, like, what was going on? Like, what was going on Titan that the Celestials didn't rein all that stuff in sooner? And and also, like, how did they reproduce? Like, what's going on with that? Like, so yeah, that part was kind of weird. Like, they left that again because there's going to be Eternals too. But it definitely left a lot of questions in my mind about how they're going to tie this together, because it kind of doesn't go with the comics, and that's fine because they've done that time and time again when it comes to these movies. They don't go by the comics; they build their own thing, which is perfect. That's great. Like, you can use the source material as guidance, but you don't have to use it to go word for word and action for action and be so true to everything that happens in the comics. Because, you know, especially with the way Marvel has the rights kind of spread out, it's hard to tie everything together like that. So I'm fine with that, but they did leave a lot of questions for me, and I'm sure for a lot of fans, about what's going on, what's going to happen next, and how they're going to tie all this together. But, you know, that's for the sequel. I'm really happy with what we got. I'm loving what they've done with Phase 4 and moving away from the Avengers that we knew, and, you know, developing the Avengers that are to come, and what the Marvel Cinematic Universe, what's going to happen next. You know, like, we think, when we're pretty sure that Kane Carter is going to be the next big bad, but what if he's not? What if it's something else? What if there's not just leading up to this one big event, but you have other little events or other semi-big events happening otherwise in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that don't just tie all together and get wrapped up in a bow with one movie and one storyline that kind of is interwoven between all the other movies. Maybe in Phase 4 and Phase 5, it's kind of, you have branches and you're doing a little bit different things. So we'll see. I'm very interested to see what they do with that. Again, Eternals was great. Definitely worth the movie experience. It's great to be back in the movies, to see movies, to hear the sound, to see everything on the big screen. I'm definitely one who's all in on going back to movie theaters and to see these movies as they were meant to be seen. So if you've seen Eternals, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, peace.